Shalom family. I was just gonna do one more video before I went to bed. Me and my son had a great time at college tonight. We're learning carpentry. Um, but I did want to give a little. I had a conversation with my daughter, and I was explaining to her like the way women are versus the way men are, right? And I had talked to King, and I told him, I said, you know what? As a woman, a lot of times. Our emotions on the inside of us, they're up and down at all times. It's even worse whenever we're on our cycle. And I'm like, I don't give into a lot of stuff that a lot of feelings and emotions, and I don't react to things. I kind of I've learned how to minimize them so that I don't give into them and I don't cause conflict where it's not needed, if that makes sense, right? And sometimes as a woman, those things, I have triggers and different things occur. And sometimes a lot of us, we haven't learned how to bridle our tongues. Okay, so I say all that to say this situation that we're going through right now, when it happened, when we got home, and when, of course, when it first occurred, we're going and we're trying to find him, right? And King went out. He was looking. I was looking, screaming for him. Got in the car, driving around looking for him and stuff like that. And when we got back, when we was both back at the house, my emotions is raging. I want to cry. I want to scream. I want to do all those things. But what King did was King went and he laid down. He turned off the light. He turned off the TV. And he just laid in the bed. He needed peace because that's how he had to deal with it. Because men and women deal with things differently. He went and found peace. I had to go and find him, right? So I'm going and look for our baby. And he was like, he had told me he was in the living room and he was like, go ahead and take your bath. And I was like, I can't. I done put on my sweatpants. I done put on my sweater hood and I'm going back in the woods trying to find him. And when I came back in, he was like, go ahead and take your bath. Didn't want to, I gotta find him. The part of me was kind of irritated because I'm like, our baby's out there. We need to go find him, right? Now, of course, we deal with things differently. He in that moment needed peace. Me in my moment, I need to find him. And so my emotions is going haywire, right? So when I finally got back into the house, I went and I took my bath and he was laying down and he was like, lay down. And I broke down and I was crying. And a part of me wanted to argue because I was mad. I wanted him, I was mad. I wanted him to be up. I wanted him to be comforting me. I wanted him to be, upset and crying or, kind of like cuddling me in my tears. Pretty much I wanted to pull him into my chaos is what I wanted, right? Whereas in turn, he was trying to pull me into his peace. And one thing that I can say is that I didn't, like I trained myself to do, I didn't give in to my emotions. I didn't start arguing. I didn't start being mad and started a fight because he wasn't reacting the way I was feeling like he should, right? It's kind of like when it came to Job's wife, right? She was upset with him. In Job, he said that even his breath became strange to his wife, right? Because he was like, I entreated for the children, but she didn't understand why he wasn't like totally thrown, he wasn't totally upset, about the death of the children, which he was. He prayed about it, but there was nothing he could do. And so instead of her allowing him to pull her into his peace, she was wanting to pull him into her chaos. And I don't say chaos as if it's a negative thing. I'm saying chaos is something it's uncontrollable. You're not sustained within yourself. So I just want to point that out to my sisters. Sometimes we have a tendency of, because of our emotions. And I'm not saying it's one-sided because it can be the other side too. But as an aged woman, I got to look out for my sisters. So sometimes we have a tendency of doing that. We want to pull them over into our emotions, and sometimes they want to pull us into their peace. So just take note of that. I'm making this video before I go to bed, but that's another thing that I want to point out. Again, lessons come for us to all learn from. A smart person learns from their mistakes. A wise person learns from mistakes of others. So I just want to impart that wisdom to you. I pray that you all have a beautiful night, and I shall talk to you soon. Shalom.